Hello, welcome everybody to the Closing Staff Podcast, Episode 5. The one and only podcast for all you out there wandering the Hyrule fields, the people fighting the Emerald Machine under the waters, the people chopping wood in RuneScape on their phones.
Preach it!
Preach it, right? We're here for the one and only retail, GameStop podcast. Just games, going through retail, what GameStop's been doing, kind of promoting all these games, especially with E3 going through.
Yeah.
We're trying to provide some news, some positive insight, and I'm really excited, guys.
Yeah.
I'm stoked.
For sure.
We gave Distro a challenge. We said if you can launch this episode in the most epic way possible, you get a couple extra chicken wings later today. So.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. You already know how I feel about chicken, guys. But without further ado, I gotta introduce my man with, the insatiable. The insulation-able. We have Cash Wrap over here. We have the one and only, the strong, the brave, the courageous.
The backbone.
The backbone.
Of the broadcast.
I don't know how... When did I get any of that nickname?
Right now.
Just now. I'm okay with it. It sounds great.
And then I'll say, guys, I don't know if I'm speaking for myself or one of my favorite coworkers of all time. One of the people that are still holding it down for the OGs. The one and only... special guest that we have today that's going to bring some positive insight, hopefully some laughs. The one and only Cricket!
Well, the fact that he's rubbing his nipples right now, I would say that was some laughs.
Probably some laughs.
I didn't know Cricket's had
a few
nipples.
laughs. No, I'm not
well,
funny.
crickets make their sound by rubbing their hands together, right?
No, it's rubbing my nipples together.
Yeah, this cricket is doing something else.
And I digress. We have my man Cricket here. We worked together. We all worked with this man, for plenty of time. I feel like
we talked about him in the previous episodes. So yeah,
I heard that.
History with Cricket.
Yeah,
of course, Distro. You have to introduce yourself.
Oh no, and myself too, the one holding it down in the dungeon, looking for rupees,
Basically the dungeon master.
It's
the rupee hunter.
The rupee hunter,
Alright, so what's our subject again for the day?
So we really wanted to dive into kind of the evolution of what GameStop was selling from the time of when I started, even years ago, to where they are now with Loot, and even like with ThinkGeek and all these news that are going on. Cereal. We'll touch into every kind of
Who doesn't love to walk into a GameStop for cereal, man?
I mean, one-stop shop for cereal. I mean, where else would you go?
I'm not gonna lie, I want some of those Sonic O's, man. I want some Sonic rings right now.
I just want the little Sonic pop figure.
I just don't want it to stain my teeth or anything.
Is that pop figure exclusive to the cereal?
It's probably exclusive to the cereal. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that sucks.
I want some Lucios too.
Actually, that's good news. That means cereal and pop figure together.
I want some Lucios and some Hanzos. Make real cereal out of that. I'm down.
Yeah, I'm sure Blizzard would be down.
Oh yeah.
Oh, totally.
But the overall, just evolution of the products that we were selling, just when it came from before when it was just games, all the way to the tablet era, to the Cricket era. We're gonna hit it all.
Not to be confused with the person.
Yeah. But there was an era of me running stores as well.
That's true.
Yeah, there was.
There was,
for sure. That can be included in the era.
The Cricket cellular era and Cricket running store era.
Yeah, because realistically, I'll even start off when I first started there. The only thing we were worrying about was selling video games. They actually called it the game advisor position.
Advisors.
Because you're actually talking about hyping the games up. Whatever was new, whatever you saw, that was your job, was to go up and say, hey, what are you playing right now?
Yeah.
And then you worried about signups, for the Power Up Pro. You worried about reservations too as well, getting people hyped up for the new games. And then the protection plans, and that was pretty much it.
Do you remember the Circle of Life?
I do remember the Circle of Life. I try to leave it out, but
I had that card in it's still in my mind, man.
I feel like we all have a brand. Like if you have so many years, it's just
branded into your skin.
Don't forget, y'all, a pre-order leads into a new sale, but they're going to walk in, they might get some pre-owned. If they trade that pre-owned, you can use that trade dollars into another new reservation and keep that money going, yo.
Let me explain to you how the circle goes.
I had to train people on that, and I love the company, but it felt weird, these aren't my words.
Yeah.
I'm told I have to tell these.
And then at the end of it, and that's why you should buy this 99-cent connected extra.
No one ever leaves the circle.
Yeah.
We're all still swimming in there.
I think the thing that we would have made the most profit on wasn't even our own product. It was that little mini HDMI converter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
everyone wanted that.
Oh, yeah. That was big. That was a big seller for a while.
Well, that's a big thing too was kind of UPT, so adding on accessories and DLC, sure, because even then too DLC was kind of I wouldn't say on the rise, but it wasn't as heavy as now.
Even that was a little later. I mean, in the very, very beginning, in the old school days, it was reses, and it was memberships.
Yeah,
And those two things were
Only two
weighted.
things were tracked on.
Those are the only two things that
You
mattered.
never even got. I don't even remember tracking actual profitability.
No.
It was just, what are your numbers? How many res did you get? And it was like you had to get at least 10 reses.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
By the way, we're talking about reservations and not resurrections.
no, you can pop a good res when you need it.
Although
By the way, Cricket was the
reservations
mercy of the store.
did resurrect
I know. I was gonna say, yeah.
us as employees if we did get those reservations. So kind of a dual meaning there, I guess.
Nice.
Res, huh?
Double entendre.
But as far as reservations go, those were king. I mean, we had stores in the district way long ago where they would sell nothing throughout the day. They were our smallest stores. They'd have their regulars come in and purchase what they will, but didn't quite, reach the profitability or the revenue stream that some of the bigger stores would have. But if they hit their reservation goals, and they typically did because they can control the flow of customers that were coming in, they got called out in every conference call, man.
It was annoying.
Yeah, it was.
I dread conference calls. It's like I don't want to do it.
A friend who worked in the middle of nowhere store.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I have the highest number. Yeah, because you only have 5 or 6 customers coming in.
Yeah.
Well, I have 30 in a minute.
Yeah, because have you guys ever had like a really good morning where you can make like 5 reservations?
Oh yeah.
And it's all going really smooth and everything, and then that one person comes in, and it's I understand sometimes you got to cancel some pre-orders, but then they come in and it's just like 5 pre-orders gone,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you're right back at 0. So you're sitting there thinking, I'm gonna make them back, but then you end the day with like
Battle back.
You end the day with maybe like 3.
Yeah. Or similar to that, having a big trade for cash in the morning. You have to make that cash up throughout the rest of the day, or you'll finish in negative. That was always stressful.
That was scary.
There was a lot of tracking I didn't care for.
Yeah, no, but it was true though. At the end of the day, if you did have some good like reservation numbers, they would kind of leave you alone and not look at you so much.
Yeah.
And then you get the shout out if you had about 5 of them or so,
If you had a good number.
or like a good amount, depending on the game that came out. Because I know they would always really push Call of Duty when it was coming out,
Yeah.
like all the really sports games like Madden.
30 Madden.
You know,
by the end of
30
the week.
Maddens by the end of the week. Didn't they run contests too? I think they ran
I was like-
contests, huh?
Generally though, like the sports games weren't too hard. Because
Yeah, you had
there were
your
people who
regulars.
were just there who would readily buy it as soon as it
Yeah.
came out.
well,
Yeah.
people go hard on NBA,
Yeah.
and they drop for like the
NBA.
DLC.
Or Madden too,
The-
I would
I
say.
Yeah.
spent $100 on NBA on the Switch. Like the other day, I'm like, hey, NBA 2Ks for $2, deal. $100 for VC. All right. I only spent $40 more than I thought I
So, as you can tell, Cricket
would.
falls for the
Falls for the marketing.
falls for the
Yeah,
market.
right, yeah.
Folks were like, I do need that game.
Actually, I do need that.
Who needs lunch?
Yeah.
I can eat tomorrow.
If you think about it, I'm really saving on
Yeah,
the game
that's
itself.
my mentality on it.
We all have that game that we fall for when it comes to that marketing spiel.
Alien, Colonial Marines.
Yeah, I know we've touched on it. Fallout
Yes.
76.
Yeah.
Yes, Fallout 76 definitely fell for that one.
Same.
Oh, I didn't touch Fallout 76.
Listen,
I'm
I
bad.
played it. I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and I kind of let it sit there because I knew they were going to cook it for a little bit longer.
Yeah,
But I haven't gone back. I'll be honest.
yeah.
There hasn't been too much of a pull to pull me back.
I mean, I'll admit when I first saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, this looks pretty good. And then I'm like, well, it's Bethesda.
Is this?
That's it. That's my main thought. I'm like, it's Bethesda.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave this one alone for a bit.
Guys, I feel like we've dug 76 into the ground.
Yeah, let's leave
Look,
76
long
alone.
enough, you know. Yeah, we'll leave 76.
Yeah.
alone.
All right, for sure.
So
Well-
yeah, res being important. Of course, memberships were always important too.
Oh yeah.
That was second in line in those old school days. But I mean, back then it was cheap. I think it was $5 for a membership card.
Oh, yeah, no,
like,
it was-
long ago.
And by the time I got there, it was already 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it jumped to 10, or was it 10? It might have been 10 actually. in the
It might be
beginning.
10, yeah.
And then
Probably was 10.
15.
I think it was 10.
Fun little snippet is Cash Wrap over here was actually our assistant manager for me and Cricket over here.
Yup.
Yeah.
You know, and he was actually the first person to get me on the Power Up Pro system.
I was. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh,
I was gonna
shoot.
say Cash Wrap was just demoted himself when I started working.
Yeah, I had. Just
But he
stepped
he
down.
was half of my training.
That
Yeah,
was
so-
fun.
Well, he was
So yes.
1/3 of my training.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have some good insight as to like what the goals were when we first got into the company.
Yeah.
Kind of exactly what they were trying to sniper focus in on.
Yeah, I think I might have come in or joined right at the tail end of kind of that old school mentality of, revenue will come in and take care of itself. UPT, ADS, those things will take care of themselves. But we need you guys to focus on, kind of those extras. So the power-ups and the reservations, which were all extra. And then I think at one point when they noticed that game warranties were kind of lagging and system warranties were kind of lagging, then they kind of pushed those a little bit more. And then, so my joining was at the tail end, and then we started to see an evolution into more of that kind of corporate, a little bit more of that micromanagement on what we're selling in our day-to-day work.
Dollars coming in.
The dollars.
It didn't matter if you sold a new console, they had to be pre-owned.
They had to be pre-owned. They had to have an extra controller. They had to have, a game to go with it or whatever. So the focus kind of changed from, what'll make us pure profit into what'll just make us any profit, even if it's, even if our margin on what you're selling isn't that high. If you're selling a lot of it, that means we get a lot of money anyways. So your ADS goal would, for a new release would have to be like $70, which is a game, and then something else. Or your UPT was, I don't know, I think for a new release, 3 or 4 items per transaction, something like that.
Yeah.
So we started to see a pretty big shift.
And it changed the culture of employees to not really care. Like when we all started, we're like, yo, what was the genuine? What are you playing? Let's chat about it. To what can I sell?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you're buying that. Hey, yo, you might as well get a new a pre-owned controller. Like, I know we always want the new ones, but check it. This was like $15 off.
Yeah.
Plus, you got that Power Up Pro membership. I'm gonna knock off another $5 on that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. Right now, let me protect that game for you. You can break it, crack it, light on fire. Extra $2. I got you for $4. And I would get everyone all the time. Like they thought I was doing them a favor.
Yeah,
but that's the same pitch.
And I like that Cricket still has it down too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I still remember when I needed to hit extra game protection plans, I would knock off their game by an extra $2.
Yeah.
And then hit them with a $3.
And this was what did we call it? Just the tip with Cricket.
Just the tip.
Yeah.
Just the tip with Cricket.
I would say that
little
Cricket
sales tip.
Cricket was really good with the sales, man.
Yeah.
But he was really fluid and what's the word for it? Natural with
I
it.
called it the sleazy car salesman.
Yeah.
But what's the best part about it is Cricket. You embrace that. You embrace that mentality and that infamous villainy so much.
Sleep right next to him, hey, what are we looking at on this wall right here? Yeah, I'm checking out those PS3 games. Check it out. We don't care about these games over here. All these games, 4 for $20.
That was so
good. You only
great.
paid $20 for them.
They look over just I want everything.
I trust this guy, but you really should.
Yeah,
you really should.
They would come in, looking for a new game, so they'd go to the new wall looking for new releases, and give Cricket 10 seconds, and they're in the 5 for $20 bin.
That being said, anyone when I had my store, if I needed to send them anywhere, I'd send them to this guy right here.
Yeah, Cricket was the go-to.
If I'd ask them, I'd be like, "Who took care of you?" I'd be like, "Oh, okay, no, I understand." But then when they're like, "Oh no, Cricket helped me out," I'd be like,
Cricket got it.
Yeah, I'll be like, "Oh, okay, no, Cricket helped you." Oh, okay, I already know what's going on here. Say no more.
Yeah, say no more. No more needed. Putting Cricket on the PRN calls is always the best too. I'm pretty sure he had probably the highest rate of folks coming in who got a call about their reservation.
Yeah, PRN calls are just calling.
Those were all those pre-order calls, reminders. It's like, hey, just calling to remind you have Call of Duty 15 pre-ordered. By the way, if you come on in now, I'll give you a high five. Bye.
Bye.
Did they ever make you call the district leader, first call?
Every time.
Yeah.
With me too, and I used to tell my, GAs about that, and they'd be like, no, really? I'd be like, you're lucky I'm not making you call our district leader.
Yeah.
And our district leader at the time, you already know. And I was just like, it's not the funnest person to call. I was like, you have it lucky right now because we have so much turnover. But back in my day.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
While we were walking on coals on our bare foot.
Yeah, exactly.
I stumbled pretty much for a good little while. Just sitting there trying to make a perfect speech.
Trying to figure it out.
And at some point, I'd sit there and I remember my first ever call to him, I just hung it up. I stumbled so bad, I just hung up and I hope he doesn't call.
Click.
It was like, this is distro. I'm just calling to remind you that, like, yeah.
Let me try this again. Click.
You know, the
I've
best
done
thing
that
was
so many
when
times.
he finally came into my store and was like, Cricket, you know I don't listen to any of these calls. I just need to see the store
I just
call.
want to see you call, and yeah, I want to see that you're doing.
I was gonna say I vaguely remember it's just my thing too. Like, you ever plan those calls and try to think of scenarios and what they would say back?
Oh yeah.
And just I just remember making one of those calls where it's like, oh, I wonder what he'll say back, and the response was just okay.
Yeah.
Like,
No
well, I
feedback.
prepared all of that for nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And yeah, I
I
mean,
wrote a script out for you.
leave it to Tradehold to like want to do it the way that's intended and trying to research it and like looking for honest feedback on what I could do better, and then the response is, "Oh, great, good job. Start calling the people now."
Cool beans.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, at the tail end is when we started seeing that shift to, how to build up profitability regardless of the margins that we're making. But I mean, trying to make a lot on our margins showed the focus more in used games and used systems because we make 100% of those of that revenue on that. Whereas I think a system or a new game, I think the margin for us was maybe 10%.
yeah,
or so.
10% if you're like, being
Yeah.
hopeful.
If you're hopeful, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, used games was definitely a shift towards that end, but then we saw a shift completely away from video games. So
Yeah.
video games are still, the kind of the focus, and but yeah, that was the mentality. Is we're a game store. We've been a game store for X amount of years. We think that these games can probably sell themselves. We're on a nice trajectory here. But what if we compete in the consumer electronics space and see how we do there?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Those were some days.
Yeah.
Lots of memories.
And then
around
the
that.
Fire Nation attacked.
Yeah. Oh, pretty red boxes that will never leave your store because no one else spent $500.
Yeah.
So before we dive into that, I want to ask. I'm not too familiar, or I don't remember too much, but was that around the time Best Buy implemented their gaming membership as well?
No.
No?
You're talking about the Gamers Club?
Like, were they kind of out with like their upgraded one, where like it really competed with the Power Up Pro?
yeah,
that I'm talking about.
No, I think it was shortly after. I think it was like maybe a year or two after,
A little
possibly.
after consumer
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think that was it was still
They
We were still
capitalized
doing-
that we didn't push games.
Yeah.
Right. They kind of stepped in and
I think-
had their used game program and all that.
I believe it was about a year or two, maybe a year after we started doing consumer electronics.
That
Yeah.
they kind of stepped in
Okay.
and focused on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to think if there's any kind of like correlation between the two that would go through, where they're thinking, "Hey, these guys are outselling us in video games now all of a sudden, and
Yeah.
they're selling these electronics.
Right.
What are we doing? With our
What
with
are
our
we
stuff?"
doing now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I remember, you guys probably remember too, getting the
It's all
training
over the wall.
on how
Oh,
to
yeah.
sell those, on how to format them.
Oh.
Well, I think that's how it started, right? We
used to
started
take
taking them in, but we weren't
We
selling
didn't know
them
what we were doing, but
Right.
we all knew.
yet. But we all knew
We're
it
gonna sell these things one
was
day.
coming back one day. Yeah. And then we started getting new ones also. Like, I remember getting the new
Yeah.
Nexus tablets from
Yeah.
Google.
Oh, you were all
And
about that.
I used to
you
love
used
those,
the highest one.
I think I might have, or no, I think our manager at that time bought his from the store. And yeah, we would get those. We'd get the Samsung tablets in, the ones that would never freaking sell. We used to get we didn't get any Apple. I think it took a while for us to get Apple stuff.
Yeah,
It
I
was
feel
all
like Apple
Android
came right
things
after.
first. You guys remember the red tablet, the red trim tablet for kids?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forget what
That
they
was
called it,
fun.
but they styled it as a
Leapfrog.
yeah. Where
I was
you,
gonna
can,
talk
you can
about
chuck it
that.
around and
Remember
it would
that?
break.
Yeah.
I remember trying to sell those stupid things, and then we had the displays that would come in, which would be full on stations that would hold 4 or maybe 5 tablets at once, and having to go out and clean those. You remember that?
Yeah.
And fix them and repair them.
We take up an entire wall.
An entire wall.
Something I want to sell,
And yeah,
but no. But
yeah,
That was an interesting transition because I remember not everyone knew how to do all the steps, so they had to create the whole printout thing where it's like, okay, you have to follow these steps when you take it in because
yeah.
stolen stuff were being traded in and all that.
Yeah.
So-
it was-
Oh
we had a
yeah,
lot
you
of
remember
sold
that?
stuff coming in.
I remember just learning the process of having to trade one in. You have to scan the serial bar, and then you have to type in the the RI number,
Yeah.
whatever that number was on the back of it.
ID, it had to connect to the server.
Connect to the server.
Confirm it's not rated as missing.
Right.
If it came back missing, like, sorry, our system's not letting it take it through.
Oh,
Remember
man.
our boy who kept selling us stolen goods? I
Yeah.
had to pay him $100 to leave, and then he went to prison.
And then he went. Oh, man.
Best $100 I ever spent.
Best $100 ever. Well, the thing about our store too, was just I wouldn't say it was a bad area, but we would get a lot of stolen stuff or something.
Yeah.
Like you come over and it was a very tedious process, but you get to that one step where you're like, oh man, this is stolen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You just kind of feel it.
You finally get there and you're just like, it's not that I want to take this because I'm judging you or any of the sort, but I just can't take it because the system's not going to let me because you're not fooling. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Trade hold. Any good memories of trading in consumer electronics?
Trading in?
Yeah, taking them in.
Oh, taking them in? I'm sure there are a few that I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've taken in a few. I think I may have maybe done my first or second one. Like I might have accidentally skipped a step on one of those things, but otherwise I didn't really have any issue with it. I was pretty familiar with a lot of the electronic stuff already.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, I know I need to reformat it and all that stuff. I just had to, I think maybe, just didn't check something.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't. Nothing in particular. Were you thinking of something? Because
No.
that I don't remember.
I was trying to think what came after that. Well, I mean, we started taking them in, and then we started selling them. We started receiving them in the store for
Well,
sale.
the progression from that was we were selling
Phones.
Phones.
That
Phones.
cell phone plans.
Yeah.
Right. What happens when we start becoming cell phone salesmen?
Well, even too, one thing I want to touch on is what made it suck was when I first got promoted, and they really started kind of bringing those things in, and I was being senior game advisor. And we had this giant case with all these cell phones, or not even cell phones, sorry, tablets, and like some cell phones here and there because they were slowly starting to trickle in.
iPods.
But the counts, like those pre-owned and like new counts, I forget the numbers on them, but it was just those counts were
They would
brutal.
disappear all the time.
Because you would have to basically take the scanner and then scan every single tablet, and then it wouldn't match up you'd be lucky if it matched up. You'd make the adjustments, and then it wouldn't match up again. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
You know, and then like there was just so many of them, and then each tablet had its different like serial number or different code because they would I don't know how they would differentiate it before, but it was just they were still trying to figure it out.
Honestly,
Oh, man.
that
It was just bad.
the transitions in between here before we even get into cell phone plans, because it was actually in that area too when we were also getting into cell phone plans. There was just so much going on.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just the fact that we were starting to do consumer electronics to phone plans, but then on a corporate level, it's like, okay, we're going to transition from you selling as much as you can to just selling what the customer wants, and then back to selling whatever you can.
There was a lot of flip-flopping,
Yeah.
for sure.
And it was just...
And I think, wasn't the console launch kind of in the middle of this whole thing?
Yeah.
It was coming up. It was like the big shadow.
It was impending.
Yeah, it was like the
Yeah.
impending shadow that you looked over and you're like, oh, the consoles are coming.
It's there.
Yeah.
Just as you're studying.
Looking at the calendar as you're scanning a crap ton of iPods or whatever.
Because that's true to Tradeholt's point. At some point, we would take the level of training or whatever they make us do, and then you do another training, and then you do a third training, but you're way like, wait, didn't I do this training already? Like, aren't we just kind of just reiterating what we were saying like 2-3 months ago?
Yeah.
And now I have to add in something else crazy that was happening. Wasn't really a transition, it was still game related, but it was just the fact that it was becoming popular. Freaking Skylanders. That had to happen also in the middle of all that.
Figures happened before cell phone plans for sure.
Well, yeah, figures were before cell phones.
No, but it was just that
Those
part of
figures,
it,
That
yeah.
was a big, big part of our business, too.
My favorite day was putting them all into defective.
Oh, yeah.
We're like, scan them all and defective them out. They are not making money.
Sending them all to the great beyond.
I just remember working that one day with Cricket where we had a ton of trade-ins. Enough where we wrapped all those tags around.
Oh, gosh.
I still see that photo sometimes.
Yeah, I still
All
have
those
it.
Tags
We had like
wrapped
3 cardboard boxes filled up with all those stupid Skylanders, and yep.
Did one person come in and trade all those?
Oh yeah.
One person?
I think this was this before the binder or after we had the binder?
This was I think this was before the binder.
Yeah, because we had to search each one up
Yeah.
on our phone to see what their name
Mhm.
was.
Mhm.
Because they were every single Skylander was specific.
No way.
And they're like, oh, this one has a golden gleam. Why is this one special?
They wouldn't differentiate them in the system
wow.
or anything. You had to type in exactly what they were. So
Yeah.
it was like what Bone Rush Gold, like Target exclusive,
Yeah.
legendary
And it
edition.
would pop up.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, but don't
And it-
confuse him with the Chase or whatever it was. You know, like the 1 out of 10
Yeah.
variant.
Yeah.
And then all the while, customers are starting to line up.
Yeah.
behind that
And it had to be from the
person,
right
too.
game. I mean, you
Yeah,
can use
the
it
right
for
game too, yeah.
this game, like, the new model you can use on the recent game, but the old model you can also use on the recent game. But they don't have the same tag because they're
Oh,
the same
man.
character, but they're not from the same game. And it's just like, oh my god.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I was right there with you. I remember one time a lady came in. She's just like, my son doesn't play with any of this anymore. But like all of his relatives bought him like all this stuff for like Christmas and his birthdays and stuff. 3 boxes of just Skylanders. And the same thing, you're sitting there like, I was like, do you mind waiting for a little bit, please, just so I can focus in on this and not have like a giant line, and I'll take care of all of it. But it's gonna take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and to make it worse, they had the different platforms, right?
Yeah.
Oh, on the bases, yeah.
The different bases. Yeah.
Anyways, back to what we were talking about.
And I digress. We can sit here and have PTSD about this kind of
Yeah.
figures.
One of the other cool things that we started selling for the employees anyway was candy. That was kind of nice.
Oh no, yeah, Candy came in too.
Yeah, candy started showing up sometime after electronics, and
We're open box meat. You know we sell those, right? Oh, it's part of our inventory.
I'll tell you, our store was just smelled like lightsaber gummies for the longest
for a
time.
long
Or just
time.
M&Ms and
We always used to buy the best candy before we put them out on the floor
Mhm.
and sell out.
Energy, sugar, cube.
Yeah, the little sugar things. Those would be gone. We wouldn't even give customers a chance to buy them. Honestly.
Speaking of that, I remember when they gave us a little mini fridge full of Red Bulls that we were supposed to sell
Oh
during launches and stuff.
yeah, that's right.
And it ended up just turning into our personal fridge in the back.
Yeah. It was. Oh, I think we had 2 of them.
Yeah.
Is what, and they took one, and we never told them about the
Yeah.
second one we
I
had.
think they just didn't know.
Whatever happened to that? Someone took that home.
I know.
Someone took that for real though, because when
Yeah.
I got the store at some point, there was no one, there was
There was
nowhere
no
to find.
fridge,
Yeah, no
yeah.
fridge
It
to
was
find.
me.
I think our old manager might have. I think he
Because I used to
might
throw
have
my
called
lunches
dibs
in
on
there.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
did. That's
know,
right.
and
I'm
it
pretty
keep
sure
it perfectly
that was
cold.
his,
Yeah.
I'm leaving the store. I'm taking this.
I'm
with
taking
me.
this with me. Yeah, I think he took it. And so if we get him on the show at some point, we're gonna give him.
We're gonna track down
wanna
that
give
fridge,
him a piece
guys.
of our mind.
We're gonna find that fridge, and then we're gonna
Have him bring that fridge.
Yeah, we'll have it right here.
Bring that fridge here for us.
Yeah,
Mic the fridge up.
Mike the fridge. We want to hear from the fridge's
That
perspective.
fridge has some stories too.
And then everyone's gonna want the fridge, and we're just gonna strip it and sell it for parts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, there was candy for a while. Skylanders, all toys and games, which paved the way for Amiibo at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the cell phones came in.
Was it cell phones after that? Huh?
Because then we started getting a slew of pre-owned cell phones. Because I think it was a select few stores had them. It was the store that I
iPhones and-
switched to, and then I think it was one of the mall stores that had them.
Yeah,
One of the bigger mall stores.
but we weren't
then-
selling them yet.
And we weren't
though.
selling them yet, and there was that one day where finally from those 2 stores we've already talked about RSBs a little bit, but they made giant RSBs of just phones to every store.
Every store.
to where you were getting them from every which way, you
Yeah.
open a box and it's just red little boxes everywhere.
And there were goals around selling those phones,
Yeah.
right? Like once a week, twice a week, or something like that. If
Because
you
it
could
was
get them.
pure profit.
It was,
Like 300,
yeah.
400,
300, 400 bucks.
profit coming in.
Yeah, it was like another, stream of consoles, basically. In
You know,
terms of profit.
I'll be honest, those phones brought in some of the strangest people.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like, are you really buying this phone for you, or what are you doing with this phone? I'm not even gonna ask questions, but
Oh, you remember getting in phones or iPod touches that had photos on them still?
Oh my god.
man.
I mean, we can go back to that with the DS stuff too. But
Oh yeah, the DS and the
I would
the
just
Vita
like to
too.
say I would check some consoles and some discs would come out, or some PSPs that had some questionable wallpapers, but
yeah.
That's what had no shame too. Like, you can delete that.
Yeah, exactly. You just feel like, oh, I probably wasn't supposed to see this. So if you want to, no, you go ahead. You could swipe through the rest if you want to.
one
I'm proud.
yeah.
one quick little story. I remember this guy traded in his PS3. He's like, "Oh, I haven't touched it in a year." The same old story. Like, I'm just trading it in. It's just
Yeah.
my Blu-ray player. This and this and that. I go over and then I click on it. I open the disc tray. I basically hit the disc tray. It slides open because it's one of the newer PS3s. and then it's his
Oh,
disc.
so it's a super slim.
It's a super slim. I won't digress into I won't go into what exactly the disc was.
Yeah.
But I picked it up and it was very vulgar. So then I basically flip it upside down and I pass it over the counter and I say, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but I think you forgot your disc inside the console." And he looks over, he's just like, "I didn't forget anything inside the console." I'm like, "No, sir, I think you forgot your disc inside the console." And I slide it over. And then he flips it over and the look on his face, he's like, "Oh, I forgot the disc inside the console." I'm like, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Totally understood. Let me take this disc out of the console real quick.
Yeah, you know? It was just super funny. He's just like, his eyes got really big. He's like, "Oh, yeah."
Or in Cricket's case, he takes a look at it. "No, I did not forget the disc in the console. You need to take this in right now."
Keep it for yourself.
Keep that disc for yourself.
Treat yourself.
I remember someone like, it was like PS2 trade days.
Yeah.
It was like right before we were discontinuing it. I'm like, I remember like dancing around the store like, we're not gonna do anything with PS2. Like, yeah, I'm done with PS2. It's like, it's gonna happen in a week, so take in whatever you can. This lady came in with a stack of PS2 games, and they were gonna be 40, 50 cents, that most for some of them. Remember, like, you'd have to open, check the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, this one looks sketch. This one looks sketch. Whatever, defective. I didn't care. I was just like, you're gonna complain anyway.
Yeah.
I don't want them to just straight up.
Oh.
Yep. But it was of her face,
Oh, what?
and she looked at me like she planned this whole thing. And then I just closed the box and put it to the
Just
side.
quietly just
I'm like, I think you want me to keep this on body language here. And so I like, put it back. He's like,
That one's yours.
none of these games are in our system. And he's like, I know. So
Did you make eye contact?
Yeah,
during this
I
whole
feel like
time?
she probably just like looked at you and just like raised her eyebrows,
Yeah,
like
like a
coy,
power move.
like
Yeah,
really
power
coy.
move.
So you can take these back. I don't want them back, so you can throw them away or do what you want with them.
What you want?
He's like, all right, and then like
She's
gave
like-
her $5 for 35 games, whatever. And I just remember like I had a stack of 5 games. 4 of them were old like demo discs, and one of them was just a photo of her on it. I was like, I don't want to know what else is on here. And it
She was like, this is low key marketing.
yeah,
Just
You should have pulled the
our
console out the
keyholder-
back and just slipped it in the PS3 or something.
Yeah.
Or our SGA at the time, the other one came out just like laughing, smiling, like, you saw what I saw. I will do it. She was like, you want to watch it? Like, questions. No,
No
I don't wanna
questions.
Question this.
No
man.
questions.
Just like threw them all away. Man, we'll never know what was on that disc.
Just ended up tossing it, huh? Just
It was in our dumpster. I remember feeling like weird.
I mean, I feel like you
One of
can
our
take
dumpster
some of
divers
those.
finds it.
Yeah.
I feel like you can just take those discs and like label them, and like have fun with this and throw them in a defect pile. See what happens.
Send it back to LP.
Send it into the void, yeah.
You get the best back thanks.
This was good. Did you
Wow.
check it out?
These games aren't in my system. I know. That one's for you.
Or even just put it in like a store-to-store
That's-
transfer
that was-
or something.
That was where Cricket got his habit of touching his nipples, right?
Yeah.
Like-
That's
Actually,
where
what
it
it was
began.
is I put the discs, both of them,
To where the little cutout
Yeah.
in the middle.
was on it.
It's like this is why I'm known as a different kind of DJ. Just spin them. Okay, back on topic.
We can get into
Here.
disc art and we can get into all this stuff.
We'll have another episode dedicated to what you do with this.
Well, to go on to the evolution of everything, it was so weird to be part of that phase where we started to sell Cricket Wireless.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but I was sold on it. Like, I don't know.
I remember that you went straight onto the plan.
Because I was like, yo, you have Metro, or you can run off AT&T towers and pay $30 and have unlimited data. And everyone's like, yeah. And then I realized the customer base were the people who were usually getting Metro. I'm like, come on in, sell any old game you have that you find at the flea market,
Yeah.
sell it with us. And then the best part about that whole plan, those employees, it was like $15. So you
Yeah.
had the best plan. ever.
$15 unlimited everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was on it
Yeah.
for like 2 years after I first left the company.
Really?
It was still running with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it worked fine, huh?
It worked.
Oh,
And
sweet.
then I think someone like looked at the system like, hey, your Cricket Wireless data plan's gonna change to $60 a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Still cheaper
That's
than
fine.
everything else.
Yeah.
It was flat price too.
Yeah.
That was the good thing. Like there was no, like, no, it wasn't
That
like,
price you
yeah.
saw, the price you paid.
Yep, it wasn't like, oh, it's 15 and then $3 more for some fees or whatever. It was just 15 or it was 60 or 40 or whatever
Yeah.
plan you were on.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
flat.
You guys want to know a secret?
Drugs.
Yes.
In case you're wondering, drugs.
Oh, cricket too.
Are
That's
you?
cool.
Yeah.
Right now?
Right now.
Oh,
yeah.
sweet. And so you go into what? Your previous store? The
No,
store?
I just have auto pay, so I pay $55.
Oh, okay.
Unlimited data and text and everything.
Oh,
calls
nice.
and
Okay.
I've
minutes.
only seen one cricket store in a while, and I'm like, do you all sell GameStop stuff on the side?
Yeah, right.
I'm
yeah.
here for the game.
I remember-
Mario
Wink,
Kart.
I remember I used to prefer just sending them over to like the
Yeah.
cricket store. Like,
We
Oh,
had
yeah,
a store in our
yeah.
district that was
Yeah.
dedicated. Like, there was a store that was split in half from GameStop, and the other side of the store was cricket, but then there was a cricket retail store that I used to send to, like, go to that store, not the GameStop cricket. Nah, don't go there.
For the longest time,
Don't
I
go
trained
there.
all my staff on cricket because I was trained on cricket like brutally.
yeah, me too.
You know, yeah. So then
I
at
actually-
that point, like everyone was just getting referred to my store. They're just like, "Oh yeah, just
Yep.
go over to
I would,
the
I
distro
would send them
store."
over to you all the time.
You know, I was like, "Oh, who sent you?" Like, okay, no, I know what to do. It's like at least it's easy, you
Yeah.
know. Like, but when it came to those families, they're like, "I need 4 lines."
Yeah.
And then I need like a
I mean-
phone number transfer for each one. And
That
then,
was
not
like,
ready
you have,
for that at all.
That was my beginning for cricket. It was
me
like
too, yeah.
when,
yeah.
when
Yeah.
they were asking me all these things. I'm like, they didn't train us on any of this yet. Like that's why when I
Yeah.
actually had someone come in and train me,
That
and
was a
then
big thing. I don't remember getting solid training around
Yeah.
any of that before we started selling it. So
they were like, I remember on the initial training, it was like a short training they did, and they sent out some like information on like
yeah.
through the POS and all that
yeah.
to touch on. And I was asking questions. I was like, well, what if they need this and what if they need that? And like, well, you don't need to learn that now. Freaking, I think the next day someone came in and was just like, oh, I need to transfer my phone number, and I'm just like,
yeah.
What was
At
great is there
perfect
was no
timing.
dedicated support phone number. It was a chat. It was
Yeah.
you had to type
Yeah.
it
That's
out via
right,
chat.
yeah.
with
yeah,
somebody.
that was the first time, yeah, because
Like,
that same
hello.
day,
Yeah.
How can I help you? And you're like, oh, let me tell you.
and yeah,
Oh,
I remember that phone transfer thing was an hour and 45 minutes of chatting
wow.
with someone to
No
figure out
way.
while the line was going and someone else had to handle all the customers. I'm
Yeah.
on here
While you're
figuring out
dedicated
freaking
to-
cricket.
Yeah.
Like,
You guys
And,
remember no one remembering their
Login?
So we had
Oh.
to use one person in the store.
oh, I actually
Best
remembered.
numbers.
You had the best
Yeah.
numbers.
Mine was tied to a store I never worked at.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I remember that.
way.
I remember
Mine
that.
was tied to our OG's first mall store.
Oh, no
And I was
way.
like, I've never been in that district. Like, I've never been there.
I
Sending
remember-
all the sales.
I remember being the one to remember. I think myself and 2 or 3 other employees' login numbers because they couldn't remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I-
certainly could remember.
I just
mine.
wrote all ours down in that green binder we had.
That made sense too.
You know,
I think eventually that's what
cricket
everyone
binder.
did was that they just
Yeah.
wrote it down.
We just printed out a bunch of tags and just slapped them on there. We're like, this is you, you,
Yeah.
you, and you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so new for
Yeah.
us. I mean, we're going from barely kind of understanding how to sell video games in an effective way, other than cricket. We totally embraced how to sell anything, really.
I still can.
And still can.
I mean,
To now being cell phone
yeah,
salespeople, you know? And it's funny because our store, the one that we were at for a while, we had a T-Mobile next door.
yep.
Yeah.
And so all they're doing is selling phones, and they look over at
Well-
us, and we're selling phones and games, and it's like,
I was gonna say this. That I think that was a thing, kind of like Chase. Like I've gone to a lot of plazas where I always see T-Mobile,
Oh, yeah.
Chase with GameStop.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I feel like-
an owner thing.
Yeah, possibly some sort of partnership. But it is weird though. T-Mobile and then cricket. You know.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's strange.
They
you
didn't
know?
know for a split second.
Yeah,
Until someone like came into our store. When was it you that opened up a box of new iPhones that was meant for T-Mobile?
oh yeah, that's right. I totally opened one of their boxes.
We were just like, oh, I guess we have iPhones now. That makes sense. We sell cell phones and stuff, so we're gonna put them in the back.
Yeah, we'll just start selling these, I
And they
guess.
just want, like, you have our box.
Yeah.
Why?
Give it back.
Why do you have our? And why did you open it?
Box came, we opened it.
Yeah.
We're simple men here.
You're going to have to step into our back room for an hour. We're going to have to debrief you of what you saw in that box.
Did that really happen?
Yeah,
I was gonna say. I can see it happening.
It was weird being a game advisor at that time, or even a senior game advisor at that time, was being grilled and being felt like I wasn't doing my job properly. Because when I got brought on, I was at that time where I was only selling games, so all I knew was about talking about games, hyping games up, memberships, all that stuff up. But then even at some point, you were sitting there thinking, now I'm getting in trouble because I'm not selling phones properly.
Yeah.
Or like now I'm a
Yeah.
phone salesman and like I'm not selling plans or like all these things. Like, I didn't sign up for phones, or like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Like,
Exactly.
It's
It's just
like, I
like
was-
put that extra pressure.
yeah, you're sitting there like,
Yeah.
you did sell that really good collector's edition or that console and you helped really out and it was all pre-owned, but where's your cricket at right now?
Yeah.
And you're kind of sitting there like, or where's your, I know we had a specific demographic or like little percentage for
Mm-hmm.
online sales or not even
Yeah.
online sales, but phone sales or tablet sales.
Right. Right.
And they'd look at that and say like, oh, well, you're doing good in pre-owned, let's say, but you're not, where's this at? And they're
Where's
pushing
this?
it so hard
Yeah.
that
I would
it kind of made you feel like you're saying like, oh man, now I'm pushing phones. Like, oh, you came in today? Oh, can I sell you the newest Samsung phone? Like, how can I get you on this
Yeah.
new cell
Oh,
phone
man.
plans?
You came to
And
a game store.
I
What
will.
about this phone?
I'll have to say that I think the mentality was that other stores do this, but the difference with GameStop is that other stores can have dedicated helpers in certain sections, or they just have a general person where it's like, oh, you're looking for electronics, you go over that area. Whereas you walk into a GameStop, all three people there should know everything.
Yeah.
I think y'all spoke about that before, that like if you were working the reg, you still have to know how to do inventory, you still have to know how to do the sales, all that at once. I think I remember after you all left, and I was one of the only ones in our store, and you remember when we had to use the tablet.
Oh yeah.
It was not to embrace
Oh,
using
yeah.
our own tablet, it's because the Apple stores use a tablet and they're successful. We need to model
We
their
need to
stuff.
model after them.
Like,
Yeah.
we're nothing like an Apple store.
Yeah.
We need to be like the Apple store.
It's the worst store to try to be like. They have brand name attached. We don't sell any of our own products.
Yeah, we don't have anything.
And then we have our own video game.
Yes, which is right back in line with kind of the evolution of the products we sold. We started selling our own video games.
Game Trust, right?
Game
Yeah,
Trust is
Game
the brand.
Trust
Yeah.
had
Song of the Deep.
Congregate was a big one for a while.
Song of the Deep.
Song of the Deep was our first published, developed.
Everything
whatever
aside,
it was.
Song of the Deep was actually really
It
good.
was-
I liked
It was a good game.
Oh, yeah, it was a
Did
good game.
anyone go to the launch that we held at Buffalo Wild Wings?
No, I don't
but
think
I
so.
remember.
I-
Let me tell
I didn't know anything about
a
it.
story about that. Though.
What?
I remember reading that email and just Jones, and I was like, "You're telling me there's an event at Buffalo Wild Wings, but I missed it."
Oh.
So I took my GA and I went over there, and our district leader put a tab up and didn't tell anyone. Just it was kind of his own little thing, and then we were just it was me. I remember I was SGA, GA, and then ASLs and store leaders everywhere else.
Yeah.
I was like, this is weird that we're like the team representing our store, but he
Yeah.
wanted people we brought the consoles. And then he's like, all right, you're all off the clock right about now. You can go get drinks on me. I'm like, cool. Like, keep it at 2-drink minimum.
Right.
Like, great.
Right.
So the lady at the bar had never checked anyone's ID or anything like that.
Wow.
And
Oh man.
also, she never asked what party I was with. She just assumed, like, I did not know I was going to get free beer. So I just remember, like, cool, I'm going to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep
taking
going.
them down.
By the time I left, I was like, hey, so, I think I charged him, like, $80 today. I hope he doesn't know.
Yeah.
He found out it was me.
Oh man.
He was cool about it. Like, it was his ASL from previous, the one that I ended up working under. Saw me at the mall. They had a round one in there.
Yeah.
So they were all celebrated. And then, I'm drinking a lot of beer. He's like, oh yeah, no, Cricket, that dude drinks a lot. In fact, at one GameStop event, he drank a lot. That was my GameStop event. You drink all
That
my
was
beer.
mine. That was you that drank all that beer.
Like, are you ever like, yup.
I can attest if there's anyone that can hold down their beer like me, it's my man Cricket over here.
So for everyone out there who's currently working at a store, do not skip on district parties.
No.
And especially if it's on your district leader's tab,
Yeah.
make sure you order
Yeah.
accordingly.
And anyone who is
I'm like-
of age, of course.
I'm like, I unfortunately was not around during that time, I guess. Because, I mean, I don't know if I was
Summer
working
Heat
there,
came
but
out? I thought
I think you were fresh GA, and I think you were busy.
I was never a GA. I was hired on as an SGA.
SGA.
Yeah. So I don't remember, but if I might have just never.
Store because it was on company. It was on hours.
Oh, probably then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say I would have want some Buffalo Wild Wings, man. I love the mango habanero. It's spicy as frick, but I love
Don't say
it.
that too close to Distro here.
Oh,
He does love his chicken wings.
I do love my chicken.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I admit I love Bonchon more.
I think we all love chicken wings here.
On a side note, just a little tidbit. Do you think they eat chocobo chicken wings?
You know?
Oh yeah. Isn't that
Is that a thing? Yeah.
wasn't that in Final Fantasy 15?
Is it in 15?
The little one of the dishes you can create.
I don't think it's actually chocobo chicken
Yeah,
wings.
it is. I remember seeing that pop up on my.
Well, no. I don't think that's actually in the game, though. I think that's something they were selling at events that they were just marketing as chocobo chicken wings. Don't 100% remember.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. I'm just
You can
saying.
eat them in that game, but I could be totally wrong.
I would if I could. I would.
I could imagine it tastes pretty good too.
Probably.
It'd be huge.
It could be gamey too. You never know.
Could be pretty gamey. Yeah, that's true.
Wow, this is like the anatomy right now. We're just talking about fictional food.
On a side
Man,
note,
a dragon would be so delicious.
Bonchon, please sponsor us.
Yeah, we wanted to name drop Bonchon.
We have chicken wing ideas. We have chicken wing passion. Just give it up.
When we go to
Give us the goods.
when we evolve to video, we'll start wearing chicken wing suits.
Yeah,
I'll wear
That's
a
what
chicken
takes.
suit.
We're just all chocobos one episode. Yeah,
Choco Bros.
like hot ones.
Looking forward
Choco
to
Bros. That means we also have to dress up as characters. All right.
Yeah,
Let's just
characters.
just go. We'll go back on topic.
This has gone
So
long enough.
after we had our own video game, that's when we did focus back into games where Squid Golden Moon, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I remember, Distro
Yeah.
had a store,
Yeah.
and like I was ASL at my store,
Yeah.
and it was just like a great time.
It was a good time.
And like everyone got comfortable with no more Cricket Wireless. We were selling figurines and like Think Geek stuff.
Well, that's
Well,
so
It was
that's
great
I was-
time.
I was going to-
skip over
I was
that.
gonna
the
say, how
thing.
long did Cricket Wireless last with the GameStop?
It has been around. It just stopped becoming a focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
It lasted until they finally officially phased it out until maybe about 8 months before I left the company.
Oh, okay.
Like, because I remember at one point they were finally like, "No, take down all your cricket stuff." You know,
No,
we're
no,
like,
take it all
We
down
don't-
quick.
I just
take it down.
I just-
Come in and sell them, but like
don't advertise.
we had that small little sliver of the section that was on
We
the
had
wall,
we had a cardboard cutout. That's what the best market
One
I've ever
cardboard
seen.
hanging from the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Or was it on the wall itself?
It was on. Remember in our old store we had that pillar that stuck out.
Ooh,
It
yeah.
was just that little pillar.
Oh,
like,
okay. I know
it
exactly.
had
what
one
you're
phone
talking
on it.
I just remember shortly after the training I got, because I requested it, I had to get on one of the conference calls, and they called me out on it, and it was just like, "Oh, you did really good on the sales of cricket." I'm like, "Oh, freaking!" Like one of the few times I get on a conference call, and you guys gotta actually ask me questions, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Now
like
get
conference
asked questions.
I'm like, I don't even like conference calls as it is.
Where were you during my PRN calls? Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like literally the week after too. I was just like, "Oh, come on, dude!
Yeah.
Am I the best seller already on this?" Or what?
Yeah. So in the twilight years, in the twilight weeks, I suppose, of cricket, is where we started to see the transition into physical
Mhm.
collectibles.
Loot,
And
collectibles.
Before that. That's
we had
a
already
great time.
we had always sold those
We
with
had our
Web and
exclusive-
Store
I
and
remember
that
when I was
sort
your
of thing.
shopper, you got
Yeah.
me to get Deus Ex.
Oh, that's right. I got
And I
you
just
to-
want, I'm like, I want to,
Yeah.
I want to win the arm.
his arm.
And I will cut off my arm and put
Yeah.
it across the car.
You were ready to saw your arm off. and
Still am if I ever win that.
if we ever find whoever is listening out there, if you have that arm,
Adam Jensen's arm from the Deus Ex Human
Human
was it
Revolution?
Human Revolution,
Human Revolution was the first
or was
one.
it Mankind
Mankind Divided
Divided?
was the second one.
Yeah.
So Human Revolution, it was like a collector's edition.
Technically, it's not the first one, but
Well,
you
I
know,
mean,
yeah.
the
That-
first of the
yeah, the new gen.
Systems,
Yeah.
I said it came out, it was like this big arm thing. I'm like, I remember like Cash Rap. If I win this contest, if I get that arm, I will cut off my
I
arm.
will make this my arm.
He's like, it's not functional. I don't care.
I don't care.
I do not care.
How many
So-
girls I'll get with this? None will talk to me, and that's better.
None, and that's what I want.
the crazy thing is, he'll probably just mold the arm to hold his real arm that he cut off, so that he can try to make it
Yeah.
function.
Yeah, exactly. Try to make it function. Make it work. I will make this arm work.
But I mean, yeah, we always had the collected edition stuff, and then it was. I thought we were always partnered with ThinkGeek for the longest time.
No,
I think
we'd always pop open our collector's editions because that's what we had, and we'd
Yeah.
try to display them in our cases.
display them.
And they would send some of like the higher end figures occasionally, depending on if you were selling like a lot of collector's editions
Right.
and
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
Like we'd get like those few statues, but it wasn't until later on where they're actually sending us bulk. Like,
Yeah.
Well, you know what
Bulk stuff,
happened
yeah.
is I'm sure someone somewhere was probably paying attention to how popular giving away those things at midnight launches were. I mean, we'd give
Yeah.
away. You know, we'd get the
I'm pretty sure that's what
the
it was.
publisher kits that
Yeah.
would have like keychains and all. It was for us as
used
the
to
people
give
who were
away.
selling it, but we'd give that stuff away.
Mhm.
Posters, T-shirts, keychains. I mean, all of it. And they probably paid attention to that and noticed, hey, you can probably make some money off this if you start putting a price on it.
Oh, yeah.
So then that's when we started getting into T-shirt racks and the display cases for the collectibles.
Well, I mean,
I'm
before
not gonna lie.
I was gonna say before that wasn't the first transition actually Funko Pops?
Yeah,
Pop
were
figures
big.
came crazy out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was like a
Out
ball
of
of fire.
nowhere.
Too
too, yeah.
too big.
Too
I think
big,
I think GameStop
Was
jumped
it
on that
Pop
just a
Figures first?
bit too early.
I thought we had our.
I think T-shirts came first.
I'm pretty sure T-shirts came
T-shirts.
first.
Okay.
Pop figures were starting though.
Were starting
I remember they were starting,
to
but they
trickle in.
weren't big because I was like, I want to get into this fad, but this is gonna be a stupid sink of money.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for that,
Yeah.
but I'm worried, and I was right. 'Cause I
Yeah.
would have bought everyone.
You know what? I remember that because I remember being really big on them when
Yeah,
they first started
You
showing
were
up.
excited.
I used to because there wasn't that many, so to buy like a whole line of your favorite game, if they had your
Some
favorite
League of
game,
Legends ones. I want that.
yeah, I
It was
think,
hard to find them yet.
I think I got all the Halo ones because there was only like 5. I got all the Plants vs Zombies ones, but then once I
game.
started noticing that they were like, oh shoot, they have this for like everything in pop culture.
Yeah.
I'm out. I can't afford their
Yeah,
stuff
definitely.
anymore, man.
And I know
There's no
people
way.
who do.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You remember like how many heinous amount of them we get in boxes? You'd be like, "There's 10 distro boxes," and then you start
Yeah.
popping them open.
Yeah.
Pop figures.
Yeah,
Next one, pop figures. Next one, pop figures. Next one, just all T-shirt and socks. You know,
all
like,
T-shirts and
fuck.
socks. So
And then stocking
and-
them too, they didn't give us any kind of dedicated
Mhm.
racks. So it was-
Right.
at first it was find whatever wall space you can.
Yeah, like
And then the
like
next thing was
pin 'em
like-
on a wall.
Now you put them in your binder with like pictures so that you can pull them from the back,
Right.
or
Keep 'em
you
back
know,
and-
like whatever works essentially.
yeah, or display them above on the trim above your
Yeah.
store, kind
Yeah.
of on that top area by the ceiling.
We were in weird times. 'Cause I remember we were told not to put anything above there as well, but we still did.
Still did.
Because our store, like, I've never worked in a store that had a plano layout.
Yeah.
Yeah, our store that we rocked at, we were considered a small store.
A small store.
But we had 2 entrances,
Yeah.
and our cash wrap display area was next to the storage door, which is not
Which
normal.
is not normal, and we only had one way in
Yeah.
because the other side of the register was closed off.
And then when I went to the store I went to ASL at, I was a super small store that couldn't fit any kind of
Yeah.
layout. We just made
Yeah.
it work. But distro, remember when we trained to be ASLs? The store we went to and their back room.
Oh yeah, we're all cramped back there. And then it took about an hour to prep it because they didn't have the slideshow or anything.
They have 2 back offices. Their stores.
2 back offices.
So you get in, you go into one area and they're like, "There's more." And you come over here and there's like, it's the
And there's
size
more.
of like, it's the size. Their small back office is twice the size of my old office.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was just
really?
like, oh man, and that's not including their actual back room.
Yeah.
So I was like, you guys have a back room and an office?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, my back room is my office. I
My back room is my.
remember being on the conference calls and they'd see me and they're like, where are you? Like, you
Yeah.
know, it's just, oh no, these are just all the distro I got today. Like, you know, you can't even see the back room. It's just a wall of brown.
Yeah, so I'm sure all of the current GameStop folks who are listening are very well aware of loot and what it takes to sell that sort of thing.
Mhm.
We've been doing inventory on it.
We were there when it
Doing-
started.
like-
Doing inventory on that. Yeah.
I can't
dealing
imagine
with it, yeah,
what it's
like-
gonna be like now that the ThinkGeek website just shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, they're saying they're not shutting down; they're just bringing the products over to GameStop,
Mhm.
which is just them shutting down.
Yeah, which is basically
Yeah,
what
basically
I'm
shutting
saying
down.
there.
If anything, the website shut down, right?
And
So
it's weird because I figured that ThinkGeek, you know, I think it has to do with culture now as well. Because we've shifted from the How I Met Your Mother and Big Bang, like that pop culture being the in one, to this new wave of fashion, androgynous,
Casual gaming.
casual gaming.
Fortnite,
And so
that sort of
people,
thing.
people wearing their gear stop being the big thing. Like, oh, you're not making money on all the video game shirts anymore. They're sticking in one spot. People are buying going for that Bill Gates one shirt, jeans look crazy.
Yeah.
I love ThinkGeek, man. I remember I got a bag of holding.
Oh yeah.
The thing about ThinkGeek, in my opinion, is just that some people wanted the stuff, and they voiced that they want it, but then when they saw the price, that's what it was.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
That's true.
Well, what kind of sucked too, I know me and Tradehold have talked about this before, was before you used to be able to spend your points on actual physical items on the store.
Yeah.
Like for the Power Up Reward store, and you get some really cool, like, exclusive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then that kind of got shoved out the door, and then they brought in the whole ThinkGeek thing, but then it's not so much, you can use your points for it now, it's like, no, get this $25 off, coupon, so that then you can shop it in store for your favorite collectible.
Yeah.
Like, it's not exclusive
or you can
anymore.
check out our ThinkGeek website, or like all the stuff, and you weren't getting like the
we
cool...
want you to go into the
cool
store.
gear,
By chance, you may want to pick up something else while you're redeeming your
That's
coupon.
always what the philosophy always ends up going back to, which is weird. It's always bring them physically into the store and add on to what their initial purchase is. That's always when it's easier to work there as well, because the numbers don't focus as much.
Right. Yeah.
I'll be honest though, I think the loot's cool.
Oh yeah,
I walked into some stores and I'm like, this is some cool stuff. And it's kind of the same idea with when we had cricket, because I think one of the reasons that I started off strong with the sales that other people forgot about was the fact that you can trade in your stuff to pay for your plan.
Oh yeah, right.
That was big.
That was big. That was huge. And it's the same thing with the ThinkGeek, stuff. At least for the ones that they had in the store, was that you can trade in your stuff and get, there's other things that aren't games.
Yeah, or even in the early days of consumer electronics, trying to spread, the message of, hey, do you have an old iPod you're not listening to? That could be like an Xbox or halfway to an Xbox or something.
Yeah,
that was actually like the actual sales pitch we used all the time.
I think it was.
It was like, hey, ask your guests if they have it. Oh, yeah, when they switch from customers to guests.
Yeah,
to
guests, yeah.
I can never switch my vocabulary away from that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's guest. Hey, do you have an iPod or anything? Or Zune?
Yeah.
Do you have a Zune?
Nice. Yeah.
Hey, I still have my Zune,
I'm looking for a Zune. Did anyone here, I know Cash Wrap is the one who got me on to joining the Insider programs.
Yeah.
Like Microsoft Insider. Like
So
you mentioned
great.
you work at GameStop.
So great.
Bethesda gave you free games, but
Yeah.
the Zoom was like $80. I should have bought it then. Now they're like $130 on the Microsoft site.
Yeah, they are. They still sell them.
They still sell
They
those?
still sell them.
Wow.
Forgot about that.
I miss my Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm glad I still have mine.
Yo, I still remember my
I don't know where it is,
Zoom was watching Dead Leaves on my Zoom on the bus. Like, this is the highlight of my life right
On the
here.
bus.
I remember, this is anecdotal, but I just remember getting pulled over once because this cop thought I was on my phone.
Oh.
And I'm like, no, this is the Zune. I was just changing the song.
Heck is a Zoom.
All right. Well, I'm
Who
pulling
uses
you
a
over
Zoom?
anyway.
What is this?
Since
Yeah.
we have a Zoom. So.
Actually, that might have been the one time where a cop let me go. Because usually they get me on something,
Yeah,
even if I
they'll
didn't do
find
anything.
something.
Yeah, they'll find something.
Damn GTA cops.
Yeah. By the way, Tradehold is talking about being pulled over in GTA. Not real life,
Yeah.
so.
Using a Zune in GTA.
What's real life? I thought real life was GTA.
Did you ever address the fact that we all swore Tradehold was part of corporate for the longest time?
I remember you making that claim for years.
I'm still making that claim, yo.
Still making that claim.
He would come in like nice clothing.
Yeah.
Like,
I think he came in with a tie every now and then too, right?
yeah, well, I mean, that was my normal attire.
That was your normal, okay,
Well, even
yeah.
my old jobs, they were just like, you can wear casual clothes, right? I'm like, this is just how I dress.
This is just
like,
my note. This is
yeah.
casual clothes.
yeah, I just always wore the dress shirt and slacks.
Yeah.
would come in our store. He was part of like the culture evolution at that time as
Yeah.
well. So I was like, he's checking if I know the news that we're talking about. He's got to be
It's
a
a
spy.
test.
And then
I'm still part of corporate, guys.
he's still testing
Yeah.
how we'll ever retain that knowledge years later.
Tradehold is giving all these recordings to corporate right now.
It's like I'm gonna bust these guys, man, in this small back room right now.
We're about to be busted in on by the corporate police.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Cricket, actually, because going into one of the GameStops I was going into, I noticed they had almost like a pickup from order on store. Like, they'll order online, pay for it online, and they go into store and just pick it up.
Yeah.
They had like a little like side of the counter where it was just like, pick up your online item here. As opposed to the actual like hop system where it was like, let me reserve it, then you have to come in and actually do the register.
Right.
Yeah, like, were you, because I know you went back for a fun-filled holiday.
Yeah.
Like, was that a part of the system? Like,
No, I remember seeing it, they got rid of it, and they just pushed hops so hard.
Because I remember seeing that in store and I was thinking, this is just going to be a mess.
Yep.
Like, this is just going to look terrible.
I remember asking the team. It's funny. The team that I worked with when I went back is the team that I trained every single one of those people as their ASL to go back as just their game advisor. And they're like, hey, Cricket, can you tell them? I'm just a game advisor. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I remember you always.
You know how to do all this stuff.
I don't know
how do we take all this inventory of online stuff? And I was like, okay, so they bought it, the receipt somewhere in the box, you have to call this customer, it's already assigned that it's not going to be in our inventory, but it's right here. It's not in our inventory because it's not our product.
It's not our product.
They just walk in and pick it up and leave.
Exactly. It's not, it doesn't belong to us.
We're
basically holding it for them.
We were a locker for them to buy.
And so it was kind of funny because if something were to happen to that, or if someone like accidentally sold that,
well, that's what happened. Yeah, and that's why they got rid of the allowing you to do that.
That's crazy.
That's nuts. It would be in our system, and that's why we got hops instead. They would instead send the item to our store, put this item on hops request, and then give it to the customer that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I was kind of pulling away from their actual in-store sales too. Because most people were thinking like, hey, I can just order it off the app. Mm-hmm. And then just go pick it up in store and just be out. Yeah. I don't want to talk to the GameStop guys. I don't even want to, be in that store for too long. Exactly. I just want to make sure that I can get in and out.
Exactly.
You do get those customers, sure, but then occasionally you do have a customer that's willing to kind of chat a little bit, and it's what it's about, the community.
Yeah.
But then when I saw that too, I was thinking like exactly what you're saying. What if they sell those items?
What
are those hiccups that pop up where maybe they didn't get delivered on time, but then the person's in store like, where is it?
I paid for it. Should be here.
Yeah, that was definitely an evolution too, in like at least the online selling too.
Yeah, definitely.
They started introducing the ship from store. They started introducing like the trade hold stuff, but then even the straight just pick up from like in store. Basically ordered online and just go in store to pick up. It just seemed like they were clawing at anything.
Yeah,
like they're just making sure that anything works, and it almost felt like if you were going to do that, you should have done that a long time ago.
Yeah, that should have been part of the plan.
That should have been part of the system a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to the tail end of the podcast right now, but I just wanted to ask you guys, what do you think about these evolution of products and how they might possibly relate to the recent news of GameStop dropping in stock and what was it the lowest revenue they've had in the past 16 years or something like that?
Last year was the lowest, biggest drop in revenue. I think their history, stock drop, first time it's dropped that low in history.
It's like $4 or something like that?
Yeah, $4, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's what Distro was saying. It's almost like funny to see kind of how desperate these different plays have been through time. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, at the same time, though, I will turn it back and say working through all those evolutions, especially with you guys and the teams that we've worked with and anyone out there who's listening who's worked through, kind of having to adjust and readjust to different modes of selling, different methods of selling. Everyone has picked it up so easily. And, minimal training, minimal direction can be a factor, but the guys that I'm sitting here with, the people that I've worked with, those of you out there who have done it, like, you are the reason why GameStop keeps doing this sort of thing. It's because you do it so well. Yeah. So, yeah, in retrospect, looking back on it, it's totally our fault that GameStop thinks they can keep doing these
we built Skynet.
These pivots, essentially. But I mean, at the same time, it's because we did it so well. It's because a community of GameStop employees is so agile, and can move through these different evolutions and different phases. Uh-huh. So, one of the best experiences that I've had in working alongside you guys and everybody else is seeing all of us sort of pick up the slack. And, we complain and we grumble and we argue about it with, corporate or whoever. But at the end of the day, we get our asses out there and we sell that stuff, just like I'm sure everybody else who's listening who's going through this is doing too.
I agree too. I think that was a matter because we all really care about the games. We really care about our customers too.
Yeah.
So we knew how to really pertain and sell to our customers where we're taking care of them. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to come back. Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of kept the wheels turning, at least for me.
Yeah.
Because at some point, if you're selling to people that aren't passionate, you're not able to kind of express your passion about what you're doing. It's hard. But at the end of the day, when you're talking to that guy for, let's, like you were saying, about a half an hour about, let's say, Skyrim or whatever game you're playing, it just feels good.
It feels good.
It makes you keep going a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I mean, to add on to Cash Rap's whole beautiful speech about it, it is our fault, though, and I think it kind of leads into the way I view leadership now. and that's we all supported it and we all basically picked up the slack. But then as a company, when the store didn't do well, it's something that we didn't personally believe in because our mission statement as that store was like we want to build a community. We spoke about our original manager was all about building that community. Yeah, that's why we were profitable. That's why we were successful. But because the GameStop company wasn't really about that, they instead blamed the store for failure instead of them looking at their logistical like, hey, pushing these kind of. Hey, consumer electronics isn't really what GameStop is about. It makes profit, but it's not the mission statement. Right. And I believe that's a huge part. And I think about all the different phases we've worked through, and whenever they allowed us to just be about the gamers and for us to connect on a gamer level, like I remember the best time was, I don't know about that game. I'm going to be honest right here. I don't know anything about that game. But Distro here talks about that game all the time. Yeah. Like, I love Legend of Zelda, but Distro will tell you about Legend of Zelda.
I will tell you that type of mentality was actually the reason why our store was my favorite. Because I've already mentioned before that I wasn't a huge fan of GameStop at all before going into this store. Maybe I had a few. I was like, oh, I'll talk to this person because he's kind of cool. But this store was just like, they're all like that. It was like, if they don't know it, they'll admit they don't know it. And they'll refer you to the closest person that knows it. And that... I remember when I was still a customer there, you guys did that to me too. It was like, well, actually, you know what? Tradehold might know a lot about that. And I wasn't even working. I was just like browsing around. Oh yeah, I could tell you totally about that.
Like, oh, you're talking about Final Fantasy,
Tradehold was our resident scholar.
I just remember at one point when I was ASL, someone was like, "Oh, you don't know about this series. You don't know about this series. You don't know about this. What games do you know about?" I was like, yo, check it. I know a lot about NBA, Animal Crossing, and that's about it.
That's about it.
When you look, Dragon's Dogma was the other game. I'm still about that game.
Yo, that's a great game.
That's a good one.
Like my whole team, they were like JRPG fans. Yeah. We had some deep racing sim fans and like flight sim fans. And then there's me, like, I don't know anything about video games like you think I know. I know a little bit about every game. I like to look at the cases too.
to jump on that, we had another coworker who I hope we get onto the show.
So. Yeah, yes. I know. I've been thinking about him a few times.
Working on him.
I'd go onto the store sometimes and be like, "Hey man, did you beat the new Grand Theft Auto? Have you been playing the new God of War? Like, what's going on?" He's just like, "No, but I have a 5-star turnip in Harvest Moon."
That was his game, man.
Like Rune Factory, Harvest Moon, Fantasy Life. Like those were his games.
That's good.
I'll tell you, he was in my head like in and out throughout this whole podcast. So
his leaving gift, I bought him Road to Retribution. 99%. And I made it a big old box.
Oh wow.
I remember I hunted around for a $1. It was like a $1 game through GameStop, and you open it like,
oh, that's great.
What the hell, man? We'll miss you.
That's awesome. Parting such sweet sorrow.
Yeah.
As it is for this show. I think we're probably about time here.
Yeah, guys, I think we're milking the clock here a little bit. But
a little bit longer.
Are we dropping the gates?
I think it's time to
set the alarm?
Take that, what's that hook thing, and hook the...
That's what you called it every day. Hey, get that hook thing.
Get that hook thing from the corner and hook the gates and bring those forward.
Well, not before that, though. You have to get your trash bags ready.
Oh, yeah.
Why are there still customers in here? Kick them out.
Do not type the safe code in until the last customer's left, is what they told us.
Even though we had it started 10 minutes before we
it's a 10-minute time delay and all that.
We can't directly kick out any guests. We have to... direct them to
we have to segue them from the inside to the outside.
Games closer and closer to the door.
just remember, if your producers give you any trouble, the help desk will not help you.
They will not.
They will not help you. You are on your own.
I just locked out of help desk.
I just imagine like you just hook like Grand Theft Auto or something to like a fishing pole and just like, oh look at this game, look at this game. Much. Oh, you're out the door, just kick them out and pull in the pole and just shut it down.
Do you all have a full-on sign-out process here for the podcast? I never really make it to the end and pass out.
We kind of just, because we're the closing staff, we talk,
Cash Rap's soothing voice just put you to sleep.
Closing the store up after every show. So.
Yep.
I got one more, just a tip with cricket. Always close register 1 first.
Oh,
yes. that's the first of many new segments called Just the Tip with Cricket. Save for the very end of the show.
Wasn't it? Don't close the register. I was like, don't actually believe that, guys.
Follow the opposite of those.
I'm like, do not take that tip seriously. All right. This is
register one.
this is
always.
this is why Cricket's tip is why he's still single. You see?
Cricket tip.
Yeah.
Cricket tips with Cricket.
All right.
All right.
Let's
well,
close it out.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back soon.
Schwab.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Signing out.
Or a good day.
Yeah, I guess.
Late.